in Realm housed the largest and oldest library in the world, which was very essential for him to conduct research in creating the resurrection spell. Moreover, Rimuru clarified that since the resurrection spell was a taboo in the country, just knowing about it could put a person's life in danger, which was why he didn't want Ire to be a part of it. Yet, Ire placed her hand on his palm and assured him that she would never leave his side, and Rimuru, touched by her genuine show of affection, thanked her. The next day, while walking the street, Ire asked Rimuru if he would be buying everything he would need for school, to which Rimuru replied with a yes, but informed her that to do so, they would need to reunite with Amy at the Adventurer Guild to find a quest to earn the cash he would need. When Ire asked why he couldn't just sell the items she got in her dimensional storage instead, Rimuru replied that the stuff in her storage was too valuable to be sold, so their only option would be to work by doing some quests. With that, Ire excitedly sprinted ahead, ready to make some money, but Rimuru warned her not to run ahead since she had no idea where the guild was. But Ire turned back and reminded him that she was no longer his slave and didn't have to follow his orders anymore. Hours later, the duo arrived at the capital city of Realm, where the Adventurer Guild was, and found Amy and Kevin already waiting, waving at them. On getting close to where Amy and Kevin were, Amy congratulated Rimuru on gaining admission into the academy, and Rimuru thanked her. Rimuru then asked Amy if she had found any good quests, to which she replied, and was about to say something that happened earlier about Kevin, but Kevin tried shutting her up. When Rimuru pressed to know what happened, Amy revealed that Kevin was earlier crying worse than a girl because the guild prohibited him from going on a quest alone. Feeling embarrassed, Kevin chimed in, explaining that it was because all the quests he could take involved facing dangerous monsters. Rimuru immediately interrupted him, asking if they could take the quest together since they should be good with Ire by their side. Ire, now doubled, replied, saying the quest should be easy peasy. This terrified the rest of the team, who wondered when the heck Ire became a twin. Stunned, the two Ires looked at each other and instantly started throwing hands at each other's faces violently. Trying to figure out which one of the Ires was a fake, Rimuru decided to use his gift to identify which one possessed the dimensional storage ability. Instantly, the moment Rimuru discovered the truth, he alerted Amy to the imposter, and Amy swiftly blasted the fake Ire with a water bullet. The water bullet peeled off part of the faker's face, revealing those demonic, dark, sinister eyes beneath the skin, leading Rimuru and Amy to conclude that the mastermind behind the doppelganger was employing transformation magic. With one part of the face ripped out, the evil doppelganger charged at Ire with a ferocious punch, but Ire blocked the punch with her dragon palm. Ire wasted no time activating Mana Bestowal and countered with a powerful attack of her own. Noticing that Ire was using Mana Bestowal as a boost, the doppelganger remarked that it was time to get serious and, shockingly, transformed into a monstrous dragon. Seeing this, everyone was shocked to the bones, and Ire immediately soared upward to confront the dragon, demanding to know what it wanted and why it was attacking them. Arrogantly, the dragon retorted that it was bold for a thief to ask such a question, and then demanded that Ire return what she had stolen from its vault. However, before Ire could respond, the dragon unleashed a powerful dragon breath upon her. Terrified, Rimuru shouted out of fear for Ire to watch out. Surprisingly, though, as the attack struck, Ire stored the dragon breath in her dimensional storage. The dragon was shocked and could not believe what just happened. Yet, before the dragon could prepare a second assault, Ire boldly declared she would return its breath and, from her dimensional storage, blasted the dragon with its own attack. Moments later, as the team gathered, they looked down, stunned to see that the defeated dragon had magically transformed into a girl. Curiously, Rimuru asked the girl who she was, and the underdeveloped Barbie introduced herself as Eeg, the demon dragon tasked with guarding the vault of the evil god. Eeg explained that Ire had stolen various items from the vault she protected, including a magic transmitter that guided her to the thief's location. Turning to Ire, Eeg clarified that the transmitter belonged to the god of destruction and insisted on its return. For emphasis, Eeg further revealed that the god of destruction had shattered the world tree during the Great War between gods and demons 500 years ago. Observing Ire staring at her like she knew absolutely nothing about what she was yapping about, Eeg inquired whether she wasn't the girl present at the volcano's base when it erupted. Silently, Ire refused to answer while Rimuru appeared troubled. Kevin, at that moment, interjected, asserting that Eeg was clearly exaggerating since Ire obviously possessed no treasures. Instantly, Rimuru recalled that he hadn't informed Kevin and Amy about Ire's dimensional storage ability, so he promptly revealed her gift to them. Nevertheless, seeing that no one believed her tale, Eeg grew frustrated and transformed back into a dragon, urging them to trust her. Alarmed, Rimuru immediately cautioned her against transforming into a dragon in the middle of the city. Still agitated, Eeg blasted the sky with her fire breath, but Rimuru sternly warned her against that as well. Just as Rimuru explained that the townspeople would freak out if they eventually saw a dragon in the sky, a random guy suddenly approached the team asking if they had seen a dragon in the sky, claiming he had seen the dragon with his 2 eyes. Kevin tried to silence the man to prevent others from hearing, but it was too late, for within seconds, a crowd gathered, demanding to see the dragon. Rimuru, knowing the publicity was not what he wanted at that moment in time, stepped forward and addressed the crowd, falsely claiming that Kevin was the dragon slayer who had defeated the beast. Shocked, Kevin was speechless, but before he could protest, a man from the crowd asked if he was the same Kevin who had vanquished the monstrous hedgehog, and concluded that it now made sense. Kevin attempted to object, but Rimuru grabbed his shoulder and pulled him to a secluded spot. Quietly, Rimuru promised that if Kevin played along, he and Ire would party with him for the next 3 years, handling any dangerous beasts while Kevin took the credit. This agreement clearly made sense to Kevin, for upon returning to the crowd, he admitted he had slain the dragon. With that resolved, Rimuru suggested they leave while Kevin handled the paparazzi, but Amy declined, stating she'd be too worried to abandon him. Rimuru had no problem with that, and then pointed out that he was going to have a private talk with Ig, while Amy proposed they embark on a quest together the next day since they hadn't settled on one yet. Shortly afterward, Rimuru, Ire, and Ig returned to the inn. Wasting no time, Rimuru, curious, asked Ig to tell them about Ire's hometown. Ire looked a bit tensed when Rimuru mentioned about her hometown, while Ig demanded to know if they truly wanted to hear about it. In response, Rimuru replied that all they knew was that a sudden disaster had struck the place, leaving few survivors. When Ig asked if Rimuru still wished to know despite this, Rimuru affirmed he did. With that, Ig revealed that the volcanic eruption had completely destroyed the road to Ire's hometown, meaning it would take 3 months of land travel through mountains to reach it. Moreover, Ig disclosed that everyone in the town had been buried by ash. Hearing this heartbreaking news, Rimuru turned to Ire to check if she was fine, but she assured him she was fine since she remembered neither the place nor its people. However, Rimuru pointed out that although the memories might be gone, the feelings would always be there. When Ire asked if that explained her constant sadness and wish to be rid of those feelings, Rimuru mentioned that he believed feeling sad was also significant. In that emotional moment, Rimuru hugged Ire and began discussing a trip to her hometown. But Ire refused and suggested they could do it later, and he should just focus on school since there was no hurry. However, Rimuru promised that someday he'd fulfill his vow to take her there, and Ire replied she'd hold him to it. Noticing their bond, Ig jokingly suggested they get a room, but Rimuru clarified they weren't in the smashing type of relationship. Surprised, Ig asked why, to which Rimuru explained it was because they were still young. Ig remarked that she was impressed with their abstinence, but then mentioned that she had the perfect gift for them. She turned to Ire and revealed that among the treasures she stole from the demon god temple, there was a white liquid jar. When Ire showed her the jar containing the white liquid, Ig explained that the white liquid inside was the god of destruction aphrodisiac. Whispering, Ig informed Ire that the aphrodisiac worked like a miracle for getting any guy to look her way, which Ire found really interesting. With that, Ire wasted no time opening the jar despite Rimuru warning her against opening something that looked really suspicious. At that moment, Ire felt an intense sensation of lust and her inner thighs were getting ticklish and in need of some intense stroking. Panicking, Rimuru turned to Ig asking if she could do something about the situation, to which Ig replied saying all she could do was stay and watch to ensure everyone was safe since the aphrodisiac was quite a dangerous drug. To calm Rimuru, Ig assured him that it wasn't a poison or hypnotism, just a drug that made the peach excited. But still, Rimuru shouted, asking why on earth such a drug would even be in a temple in the first place, and then decided to use healing magic to fix the problem. Rimuru clarified that since Ire's horn was sensitive to mana, he would just make her climax through her horn to calm her down. Rimuru started channeling mana into Ire's horn, causing her to scream worse than a chick getting piped by a BBC. Meanwhile, at the Realm Magic Academy faculty room, the director, Warak, and a fellow teacher discussed about the plans for the upcoming orientation. While going through the plans on the paper, Warak pointed out how the students that were ranked F class had the same scores as even those that were ranked A class, and thought it would be best to teach the F ranks their place in the school. The first day of school finally arrived. However, Rimuru appeared visibly worried. Noticing this, Ire approached him and inquired about the issue, to which Rimuru responded that he was anxious about what she would wear to school. Rimuru elaborated that half the students at the academy were nobles who would arrive with their impeccably dressed bodyguards. Moreover, Rimuru highlighted that it would be tough for Ire to wear the same outfit to school every day. At that moment, Ig interjected, assuring them there was no cause for concern. She explained that among the treasures in the vault, there were surely clothes fit to impress the upper class. A few moments later, Rimuru stood dressed in his school uniform, ready to leave for school, while Ire declared she was prepared as well. With that, Rimuru directed them to head out, though Ire, dressed like a retired stripper, trudged behind. When Rimuru turned and saw Ire looking a cast from 50 Shades of Grey, he immediately demanded to know why she was dressed that way. Before Ire could answer, Ig stepped in, showcasing the outfits and explaining they couldn't decide between the two, while Ire concluded she'd chosen the one she thought he'd prefer. But Rimuru immediately ordered her to change into the second outfit. Shortly thereafter, Rimuru and Ire arrived at the Magic Academy, where Rimuru discovered he'd been assigned to Class F. Ire then noted she'd need to head to the bodyguard waiting room, and Rimuru agreed, saying he'd catch up with her later. Minutes later, Rimuru entered his classroom, only to receive a cold reception from his peers. Soon after, the teacher, Warak, entered as well, announcing he was in charge of Class F. To kick off the session, Warak revealed that in 2 weeks, they'd camp in the Northern Forest, home to elves, for orientation, and all students would need to fend for themselves. Warak further clarified that students were sorted into classes from A to F based on exam scores. Additionally, Warak disclosed that a competition between class ranks would take place at the orientation, offering them a chance to prove themselves as the Academy's underdogs. Just then, a cute girl from Class F interrupted, asking if they'd spend the night at the camp, which Warak confirmed. Irritated, she protested that sleeping in the forest was too barbaric, but Warak calmly countered that, as the lowest-ranked students, they couldn't afford to be choosy. Hearing this, she fell silent and returned to her seat. Meanwhile, Rimuru, sitting quietly, reflected on Warak's words and realized that as the lowest-ranked students, they lacked the luxury of choosing their lessons, and failing a test could end their school life. When a black-haired boy asked if bodyguards could join the orientation, Warak affirmed they could since most high-ranking nobles lacked camping skills. Before dismissing the class, Warak advised them to prepare for anything and hinted they could learn more about the orientation in the library, though he quickly stopped himself. As Warak exited, the other students promptly left, too, leaving Rimuru worried that the teacher had given such a huge hint. Yet the lazy losers had just gone home like it didn't concern them. However, Rimuru decided to head to the library to check out the hint. Thus, Rimuru headed to the bodyguard area to fetch Aya, but was stunned to see her drawing so much attention from guys trying to riz her for looking like a snack in her maid outfit. Spotting Rimuru, Aya rushed to him, leaving the others jealous and wondering who the heck the beanstalk was. This annoyed Aya, but Rimuru immediately stepped in to avoid any altercation. Following this, Rimuru and Aya entered the library, where Ellie noticed Aya, so Ellie approached Aya and remarked that her presence in the academy must mean that her master got in, which Aya confirmed before introducing Rimuru. Ellie then asked Rimuru if he sought anything specific in the library. She added that, as a library committee member and his senior, she'd gladly assist with whatever he needed. Rimuru thanked her and inquired about books on high-rank healing magic, explaining his interest as a healer. In response, Ellie revealed such books were located underground. As Rimuru marveled at the vast underground section, Ellie explained that the further one go down the library, the larger the floors became. When Rimuru asked if qualifications were required to enter the underground floors of the library, Ellie clarified that access depended on school year, grades, and extracurriculars. Ellie further revealed that further down the library one go, the more specialized and dangerous information one would get. This led Rimuru to deduce that to obtain the knowledge he sought, he'd need to descend further. He also realized sneaking in at night wasn't an option. Raising his status was the only way, and to do that he would need to start by doing well at the upcoming orientation. To that end, he told Ellie he'd come to research the orientation. Handing him a book, Ellie explained it contained all past orientation records and a map of the Elven Forest. Suddenly, the pretty baddie from Rimuru's class appeared, announcing she too wanted to review past orientations. However, a library attendant informed her that another student was making use of the record. When the girl looked to see who, she realized it was Rimuru, and then mentioned that she would be back later. When Rimuru was done, after hours of reading, Rimuru felt a shoulder twitch and decided to stop for the day. However, Ellie advised that since he just got enrolled, there was no need to rush and read everything in one day like he was Jimmy Neutron. Still, Rimuru insisted on ranking up and getting better. Rimuru was determined never to let a single chance to enter the underground floor of the library pass him by. Curious from his reading, Rimuru asked Ellie if orientation tasks always involved gathering materials, which she confirmed, explaining that it was a yearly tradition. Reflecting on this, Rimuru pondered how Class A received the easiest tasks, while Class F got the toughest. Over the next 2 weeks, Rimuru diligently gathered orientation intel at the library. Additionally, on weekends, he took quests with his team into the Elven Forest, gaining a solid grasp of Realm's geography and even upgrading his weapon at the blacksmith. Weeks later, the orientation day arrived, and all students, alongside Warak, assembled in the Elven Forest. Class F students began gossiping about Class A bringing 90 adventurers, and the other ranks above them also brought quite a large number which they deemed unfair. Just then, Warak silenced the side talks and called for their attention. Warak announced that it was time to designate tasks to the different ranks. For Class A, Warak tasked them with gathering philo leaves, thrilling them due to the leaves' abundance. Next, Warak assigned Class B to collect kuko nuts and Class C to gather Ragunya stones. When Aya asked what these were, Rimuru explained they were rare healing materials, though the rate of completion of the task was pretty high. Then, Warak tasked Class D with catching spring rabbits and Class E with collecting a kilogram of wilted branches. Finally, Class F students recoiled in shock when Warak assigned them to gather a kilogram of giant bee honey. When Aya questioned what giant bees were, Rimuru grimly revealed that a single bee's massive stinger and lethal venom could end one life instantly, and taking their honey meant facing a swarm. Even Aya's overpowered strength wouldn't suffice. Unfazed, Warak declared they could quit and fail if the task seemed impossible. At that, a Class F student shouted that it was cruel tyranny. Sternly, Warak warned that abusive language was forbidden and threatened disqualification for anyone who protested without withdrawing. Another student, wearing glasses, suggested it was an academy ploy to make them motivational examples for higher ranks, since the higher ranks were given very easy tasks as opposed to what they were given. The pretty chick also asserted they were mere sacrifices, while Rimuru just looked visibly tensed. Will Rimuru and his classmates overcome the injustice melted on them? Comment, "The Noble and his Dragon Girl," if you're eager to find out in our part 2. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. As always, thanks for watching.